From Matthew chapter 27. I don't see how many I can get to lie to me today. Matthew chapter 27, starting at verse 45. New King James Version of the Bible. St. Matthew chapter 27. Verse 45, I'll start. Now from the 6th until the 9th hour, there was darkness all over the land. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is, my God, why have thou forsaken me? Some of those who stood there, when they heard that, said, this man is calling out Elijah. Immediately, one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. The rest said, let him alone. Let's see if Elijah will come and save him. And when Jesus had cried out again with a loud spirit, yield up his voice. A loud voice and yield up his spirit. And behold, the veil in the temple was torn in two from the top to the bottom, and an earthquake and the rock were split. You may be seated. I'm going to see how many I can get to tell me a lie. I don't want nobody to give me anything. Open the door. I'll get it myself. How many know who said that? I figured that. You know James Brown said that. You know James Brown said, I don't want nobody. Yeah, I just wanted to see how many folks gonna sit there and lie to me. I don't want nobody to give me anything. Just open the door and I'll get it myself. That's what it means. Now that flag and look at it. Look at them two coons down there. Them two old coons sitting out here one another. They know they remember that song. Yeah, I started to find it on my telephone and play it and see what type of reaction I would get. But James Brown made that song. James Brown said, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I'll get it myself. Now you sitting there wondering, now how is he gonna make a sermon out of that? Stay with me and you'll find out. As I grew up in life, I used to often say, I don't want anybody to give me anything. Because later on in life, they will come back and say to, do you remember when? Can I help you? In October of 2011, I was on Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, California, going to the U-Haul place to hook up a trailer. And my brother called me from New Orleans, and we were talking, and the next thing, during the conversation, and he told me, he asked me to do something, and I told him that I wasn't able to do it. And the next thing out of his mouth, do you remember when I did that for you?
Amen.
In life, when folks do things for you, and that's the reason why I say to people, if you're going to do something for me, do it from your heart. Don't do it so you can come back later on with, well, you remember, man, when I did such and such, I might not be in a position to help at that particular time. And then what had happened? I have lost a friend. A true friend. A true friend. A true friend. If a true friend does something for you, you won't even mention it no more. But if it's not from the heart, do you remember when I loaned you that $100, man? Yeah. Well, I need you. I don't have it. No, and then you're going to put that N word on it. Yeah, you're going to dress it up real nice. Yeah. But you see, this is the way that I am today. Don't do anything for me if it's not from your heart. Don't do anything to come back later on and say, do you remember when? That means that you didn't do it from your heart. Let me know. And see, this is another thing about me. The same, and I tell preachers this, and anybody that I meet for the first time, the same way you were the day that I met you. If it's 30, 40, or 50 years later, I expect you to be the same person. That is, if you are genuine. My pastor friend and I, over in Oklahoma City, he and I met in April of 1965. And if you were to calculate it, it would be over 40, almost 50 years ago. But he haven't changed towards me. And I don't think that I have changed towards him. I do believe that if I was to call him in Oklahoma and say I needed help, I believe that he would give it to me. I know if he was to call me, I would give it to him. So that's the way life should be. I don't want nobody to give me anything. Just open up the door and I'll get it myself. When I was in school, I didn't want the teachers to give me no grade. I wanted to earn those grades for myself. And God bless her soul, when I was in the seminary and I was working towards my doctoral degree, and I asked her, I said, if I do A, B, and C, would you do for me D, E, and F? And she said, yes, Pastor. When I got my master's, the only thing she came back and she said to me, she said, Pastor, I said, yeah. She said, we have gotten our master's degree. Yes. Didn't ask me for a dime, and I knew what she was doing for me took time and effort. Then when I started working on my doctoral degree, and I had, now watch this, I had to write 2 dissertations of 5,000 words. I wrote them, gave them to her, and she typed them up and sent them off and everything. And when my certificate came back and it said, congratulations, you have earned your doctoral degree, she said, Pastor, we have gotten our doctoral degree. But never has she ever asked me for one dime. Are you with me? Yes. So I look at life today, And that's what I say. I don't want nobody to give me anything. So you can come back and throw it up in my face. I don't want you to give in, but just open the door. And I'll go in there and I'll get it myself. Huh? I don't mind you being prejudiced against me. But I just don't want you to discriminate against me. I want the same opportunity as everybody else. Don't give me no grace because of the color of my skin. Don't give me no grace because I paid you for it. But just make everything available to me for me to be successful as everybody else. Are y'all with me? I don't want you to give me nothing. Well, Reverend Harris, how does that tie in with the sermon? I'm so glad you asked. That Thursday, they marched Jesus from Judgment Hall to Judgment Hall. Didn't nobody wants to be bothered with him and what they were trying to do to him. Finally, there was one. They took him to Harold, and Harold said, I can't find no fault with this man. Y'all do to him what you want. Then they took him back to old lame Pilate. Pilate, he gonna wash his hands and say, I'm washing my hands of this situation. Because they knew that Jesus was a special person. They had witnessed or had heard, if they hadn't witnessed, they had heard about how he healed the sick, how he gave sight to the blind, how he raised the dead, how he fed the hungry. They had heard about this man called Jesus. Pilate said, I don't want to be bothered. He said, you all do it. And then the question was asked. They say, what do you want us to do with him? Show you about people. That's the reason why I don't want nobody giving me nothing. People say, crucify him. Crucify him. Some of the same ones that had witnessed some of the things that he had done. They gonna take Jesus and put two criminals in front of Jesus. That's who they wanted. Little did they know that Jesus came down here to do what they were getting ready to do. But they were doing it for the wrong reason. They were going to kill him because of hatred and lie. But he came down from heaven to do what? To die, that we all might have a right to the tree of life. So that Thursday night, they marched him from Judgment Hall to Judgment Hall, and they couldn't find no fault with him. But early, that Friday morning, the man was so weak, they tried to make him carry his own cross. But he was too weak because they had whipped him all night, and the man hadn't had no sleep, plus he had an ache. So you know how we are when we don't eat. We get weak. Start talking about blood pressure going on, my potassium is low, and this I can't hardly see because I ain't got my medicine. But Jesus, the Bible didn't say anything about him complaining. But early and Friday morning, when they put that cross on his shoulder, they say he tried to drag the cross down through the street, but he was too weak. But according to the Bible that I read, it say there was a man named Simon of Cyrene. When I did my research on it, y'all ready for this? That he was a black man. That they put a cross. And they bade him, you take the cross for him up the hill. The song says, must Jesus bear the cross alone? No, because there is a what? There is a cross for me. He carried his cross up that old rugged hill. Soldiers was behind him. Folks was laughing at him. People were mocking at him because of his condition. The man was probably bleeding. No, not probably. The man was bleeding. Body had him swollen up and he was sore. But the Bible said, this is what the Bible said. He says, in the 6th hour. Yes. Come on, man. From the 6th until the 9th hour. From 12 o'clock until 3 o'clock. The 6th hour is 12 o'clock. The 9th hour is 3 o'clock. But there was something happened. According to my Bible. It got real dark in the temple. The sun stopped shining. Some theologians say the moon dripped away in blood. Others say that the star fell from their silver socket. Yeah. But that is not what interests me. Yes. What interests me is that from the 6th until the 9th hour, it got real dark. And the temple, the veil in the temple, tore from the top to the bottom. As I was reading and putting the finishing touches on this morning, and it said that it wasn't no human hand that tore the veil. The veil was torn because it was an act of God. Are y'all gonna help me? Yes. I hope I'm hooking another one about this. I don't want you to give me nothing. Well, let's travel back just a little bit. The Day of Atonement was the day that the high priest went into the Holy of Holies to sprinkle blood. A bull offering was atoned for the high priest and his family. And a goat atonement was for the people. And he offered incense upon the altar of the covenant. Now, this is a part of my teaching that Deacon Harris lacked. Before the high priest, inside of the tabernacle, was 2 parts. The first part was where they had the table of the showbread, the lampstand, and the brazen altar was in there. But separating in that part of the tabernacle from the Holy of the Holies, which were over on this side. The priest, not you now, but the priest could go in and do their various duties in that part of the tabernacle. But when it came to that veil, couldn't nobody go behind that veil but one man. Y'all gonna catch up with me in a while. Couldn't nobody go behind that veil but one man. On your way past Baskin and Robin, you'll catch on what I'm trying to tell you. That man had to clean up before he went behind that veil. In other words, he had to take a bath, had to change his clothes. And if Harris had to preach this sermon, see, Harris could preach this sermon because that's what he lacks. That high priest pulled off his old earthly clothes and put on his spiritual clothes. He had a special robe that he had to put on. But the most important thing, two important facts about that high priest in that robe. The high priest had a rope tied around his waist. And the rope was called a cable toe, Preacher Harris. And around the bottom of his robe, there were little bells. I was reading, and it says that one question was asked, how did you get all this, Harris? I Googled it. And from Googling it, it says that, same thing I've been preaching now 3 years, that the rope was there for one special reason. The bells were there for one special reason. The bell was as long, remember I told you that the priest had to clean up. As long as the priest he come in here and I'm getting ready to go in here now and the rope is there and I cross over into the Holy of Holies. Well, flag, as long as I'm sprinkling my blood and doing my duty and I'm moving, you hear the bells. Are y'all with me? But after a while, and it got quiet, and you didn't hear the bell, somebody over on that side would tug on the rope. And if I moved, you say, yeah, he all right. But if you tugged on the rope, and I didn't move or jerk back, something was wrong. I'm still in Google. Saying that indicated that the priest was dead in the Holy of Holies. Now you better, but Pastor, why would God let him go back there and kill him like that? Because he wasn't right in his eyesight. We need to get our house in order. Huh? You can't approach, we approach God any kind of way today. We don't care how we approach God today. But the high priest, if he wasn't right, if he wasn't sanctified, he couldn't stand in the presence of God. That was the high priest. Next, Hebrew word for the veil means that it was a divider. In other words, the veil separated. It was just a little small, dark room. No lights, no sunshine, or no any type of illumination. But the priest, the high priest, he knew what he had to do. And the only thing that was in the Holy of Holies was the Ark of the Covenant. What was that? I'm glad you asked. It was a gold box with two gold eagles on the top of the bottom, which they call the mercy seat, which is saying that that's where God resided when he came down into the tabernacle. And inside of the Ark of the Covenant were the tablets that Moses had received the Ten Commandments on. Are y'all with me? And the crumbs or the pieces of the second set of the Ten Commandments was in there, along with pieces of the first Ten Commandments. Pastor, you trying to confuse me? No. If you read the Old Testament, you'll find out when Moses was summoned into the hill by God. When he got there, God himself cut out the tabernacles out of the side of the hill and gave them to Moses. And there he wrote the 10 Commandments. When Moses was coming back down, and he looked and saw these children of his had started worshiping an idol god. They were singing and dancing, worshiping an idol god. Moses got real mad. And he took that set of the 10 Commandments and slammed them up against the hillside and broke them. Because the preacher got mad at how the children of Israel was doing. Are y'all with me? Man, him and God had a confrontation. God saw him and said, now come on back up. I'll give them to you again. But this time something gonna be different. Are y'all with me? Moses, you gonna have to cut the tablets out of the wall yourself. I'm gonna write on them, but you gonna have to do what? Cut them out of the hillside yourself. Bible say Moses did that. And God wrote on the 10 Commandments. Inside of the ark was those 2 tablets, the second set, and pieces from the first set. You can talk back to me. Yeah. And then also in there was a jar of manna. Y'all heard him get frank. Tell him I'm trying to wait on it. Was a jar of manna. And the manna was the bread that they ate when they was out in the wilderness. Now notice what God told the children of Israel when they was in the wilderness. He told them, he said, Sunday through Friday. Now Sunday through Thursday. Just get enough food for one day. You don't need to try to go out there and you only need 1 loaf of bread in your house. Don't go out there and try to get no 3 or 4 loaves of bread because you don't need them. Get enough food for what? One day. But on Friday, you get enough food for 2 days. Now if you're disobedient, you have some folk, don't go behind that door. John gonna sit there, he gonna look at the door, and he gonna look at the door. John, don't go behind that door. Okay, Pastor. John, don't go behind that door. Okay, Pastor. John, don't go behind that door. I hear you, Pastor. Pastor went around and turned his back and get his whole head cut off. What am I trying to share with you? If God tell you not to do something, it behooves you not to do it. When he tells you to do something, it behooves you to do it. What he say? Love your neighbor as yourself. Come remember the Sabbath day and do what? Keep it holy. And there was the bread that he fed them with. Then there was Aaron's rod that budded. And I had to Google and find out what it meant by that. Why did he put Aaron's rod? Aaron's rod budded to show a sign to Israel for all the time. Are you going to help me? You should be traveling with me now about, I don't want nobody to give me anything. All I want you to do is just open the door and I'll get it for myself. All this time that I've been talking to you, the veil was hanging in the temple all the way to the bottom. If I needed to go to the Lord, I need y'all to come on, go with me now. If I needed to go to the Lord, I couldn't go to him for myself. Are you with me? I had to go to the preacher and confess to the preacher what my problems were, or confess to the preacher what I had done and what my sins were. You heard me say that the high priest had to clean up. If the high priest wasn't clean, he couldn't go to the Lord for you. Are y'all with me? But I stopped by today to tell you, there came a time I don't want nobody to give me anything from this wealth. From the ninth until from the 6th until the 9th hour. It got real dark in the temple. As long as the veil was there, I didn't have no way to communicate with the Lord. Are you going to help me? But I read, help me say early. Help me say early. That Friday morning at 9 o'clock, they nailed his hands, they riveted his feet, pierced him in his side, blood and water came out of his side. Are you going to help me? I heard, and then I read, and the Bible, it said from the 6th hour until the 9th hour, it got real dark. Till I get a witness, the veil in the church was told from the top all the way to the bottom. I don't want nobody to give me anything. God, he opened the door. Are y'all with me? When the veil was told, he opened. I can go to God for myself. I don't need no priest, no preacher going to the Lord for me. Now, the same man that caused that veil to be told from the top to the bottom, that same man, he died. The Bible says about 3 o'clock, he gave up his life. Say, Father, help me say, Father, Father, oh Father, Father, it's finished. I've done what you told me to do. You told me to feed the hungry. I did that. You told me to heal the sick. I did that. I even went to the graveyard and called Lazarus from the grave. I raised Lazarus from the grave. Now, Daddy, it's all. I said it's all over. Thank God for his son Jesus. Now the door has been opened. I can go to God for myself. I can call him early in the morning. I can call him late at night. I can call him, help me say early, in the morning. I can call him. I can call that man who died on Calvary's cross. That man when he found stayed there all night Friday, stayed there all day Saturday, all night Saturday night. Well, help me say early. Help me say early. Sunday morning, got up. Do you know he got up? If you know he got up, let me hear you say yeah. Did he get up? Did he get up? Did he get up? Did he get up? Say all right. I don't want nobody giving me nothing. Open the door. All I want you to do is just open the door. I'll get it myself. Stop wandering around asking people to pray for you. I'm going to say it again. Stop asking people to pray for you. Because you see, when that veil was torn from the top to the bottom, you have direct access now. You have direct access now to God for yourself. But there's one thing you got to do. Can I tell you? Can I tell you what you got? You have to acknowledge that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And he is sitting on the right-hand side interceding for you. But you don't need to come to me, Pastor, I did such and such and such a Pastor, I was wrong. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go to man and confess nothing to man. The door is open and you can get it for yourself.